Hello everybody. So our second video for the week will be on the multiplier effect. So here we go. Okay, so what is the multiplier effect? The multiplier effect refers to the increase in final income arising from any new injection of spending. Okay, so look at what's happening. We have an increase in final income because of a new injection of spending, say by the government. Um, why is the multiplier interesting? It's interesting because of this second point right here. Okay, the multiplier explains how an initial increase in injections into the economy increases national income by more than the initial injection. I'll just take that formal definition again. So the multiplier effect explains how an initial increase in injections into the economy increases national income by more than the initial injection. Okay, so what's happening is our economy's national income is increasing by more than the initial injection. Okay, so that's key, by more than the initial injection, and we will see that now. So why is the multiplier effect interesting? The multiplier effect is interesting simply because it explains how an initial increase in planned injections into the economy increases national income by more than the initial injection. The key word here is more, okay? So the initial increase in planned injections increases national income by more than the initial injection. Now, the size of the multiplier depends on the marginal propensity to consume. Some textbooks will say the marginal propensity to consume domestically. Okay, so you can have it MPC, or some textbooks will have MPCD, right? Basically means the same thing. The bigger the marginal propensity to consume domestically, the bigger the multiplier, and I'll show you why in a minute, okay? But the key word is an initial increase in planned injections into the economy increases national income by more than the initial injection. So let's say this is our initial injection, right? So we have increase there, and then we have more and more increase. So we keep spreading out into the economy. Now, the size of the multiplier depends on the marginal propensity to consume. Why is this? Because the marginal propensity to consume measures the amount of extra income that is spent on domestic goods and services. Say, for instance, say everybody gets £1 or national income increases by £1, right? And our marginal propensity to consume is 0.7. This means for every pound we get, we spend 70% of it domestically, all right? And you can see that the bigger this is, the more we spend domestically, okay? This could go up to 0.8, and then we're spending 80% of our income domestically, all right? So the marginal propensity to consume measures the amount of extra income that is spent on domestic goods and services. In other words, if the tendency is for companies and households to spend their incomes in their own country, if this tendency is high, then initial income would be multiplied by multiple expenditure, okay? So people would spend in the country. Those people who have spent the first time, right, will pass it on to other people. These other people will spend again, and they'll pass it on to other people, and these other people will spend again. Let's try an example. If a government decides to spend £1 million on new schools and hospitals, this means that the construction companies and architects engaged in these projects will be earning £1 million, right? This is how much the government is spending on these new schools and hospitals. Now, a proportion of these earnings will be spent domestically and a proportion will be saved. The amount spent on domestic products will depend on the marginal propensity to consume domestically, once again, our MPC or our MPCD. Okay, so look at what's happening. The government spending 1 million in new goods and services. Depending on what our marginal propensity to consume is, these architects and companies will spend some of this money domestically and they will save some. So if the marginal propensity to consume is 0.8, then out of the extra income of 1 million, so remember the government spending 1 million and they're giving this to contractors and architects, okay? So the extra spending domestically is £800,000. This £800,000 will be spent on a range of goods and services such as materials and equipment earned by subcontractors, employees, etc. Okay, so these architects, these contractors are spending on materials and equipment, and the people who are going to benefit from this are subcontractors this time and employees of, say, the architectural firm. All right, so we had a 1 million, right, given to our architects and our contractors, and now these architects and contractors are spending £800,000 on new stuff, all right, materials and equipment, and the money is being earned by subcontractors and employees. Now, these subcontractors and employees, these new different groups, will also spend a proportion of their earnings domestically and save the rest. If the marginal propensity to consume again is 0.8, this means that they will spend 0.8 of their income, right? 80% of it, right? So they would spend that, they would spend £640,000. This money could be spent on a range of stuff, materials, components, maybe electrical goods, cars, meals out, and so on. Okay, and they spend 80% of theirs again, right? £512. And this process of spending will continue to happen, right? So if they spend on electrical goods, the people who they spent who got this money from the electrical goods, the car dealerships would spend another 80% of their incomes, 0.8 of their income, right? The car dealership 0.8, meals out, the restaurants will spend 0.8, and this will continue to go on. So this process of spending leading to income, leading to further spending will be continued and will have a multiplied effect on the economy. So the effect of the initial, remember it was just 1 million that the government spends, will be 1 million plus our 800,000 from this example, 640 from this example, 512 from this example, and we'll continue to add this for each subgroup that earns money. Okay, now we don't have to do that in economics, right? We have this beautiful formula that does it for you. All we need to do is find our multiplier, find this multiple values that we're trying to get, right? We can find it using our multiplier formula. And what's our multiplier formula? Is simply 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. So 1 divided by 1 minus our marginal propensity to consume. So in our example, we know our marginal propensity to consume is 0.8, right? That's all we need. So we know that it was given in the question, okay? So what's the total effect on spending, right? All we need to do is, we know what our formula is. It's 1 over 1 minus marginal propensity to consume. So in this case, it's going to be 1 divided by 1 minus 0.8, and that will be 1 over 0.2, and that will give us 5. So our multiplier effect is 5, and that's all we need. Okay, so once we have this, once we know that our multiplier has a value of 5, any initial increase in spending will have 5 times the effect on the output. So the overall effect on the economy will be 5 times our initial 1 million. So it's going to be 5 times 1 million, and that will give us 5 million. Okay, it might sound complicated, but it's not. All you need to know is this formula: 1, okay, over 1 minus MPC. 1 over 1 minus MPC. Once you do that, you're fine. You just look for your marginal propensity to consume. It's going to be 1 divided by 1 minus your marginal propensity to consume, and you get your multiplier effect. Just get your multiplier effect, multiply it by the initial increase that was put into the economy, and you get your total overall effect on the economy. So here is your class activity for the week. If a government decides to spend £300 million on affordable homes and the marginal propensity to consume in the economy is 0.7, what will be 1, the value of the multiplier, and 2, the overall effect on the economy? So the value of the multiplier, remember, right, is 1 over 1 minus MPC, okay, marginal propensity to consume. And then what will be the overall effect on the economy? When you find it, you have to multiply it by your initial spending. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is our the end of the flip lecture for this week. Hope you have a great week, and all the very best. See you in class. Bye.